EnterTalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sharpen the Axe on EnterTalk Radio, powered by Pitbull Audio. I'm Eric Lucero.
And I'm Paul Berezetsky.
And we have with us today Kevin Proctor of Iconic Guitars. Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for you guys being here. I know
Great
we had a little struggle getting going, but here we are.
Yeah, we're on air. Hopefully this is actually going out and we're not just tricking ourselves right now. But there's you've had some pretty awesome news and some pretty great gains since we last saw you. So why don't we start with a little update about what's been happening?
Right on. Yeah, we've got some pretty cool things going on, man. I'm excited. We have expanded the model line pretty significantly. We started off doing the vintage-inspired pieces that I brought last time I was here. Some famous artist-inspired stuff, kind of period-inspired, and then we've for NAMM of past, we introduced the Evolution line, which I'm holding. And within that, we wanted to kind of take that those standard shapes, if you will, and kind of move them more into a modern era guitar with some more modern switching, modern voice pickups, have some more, I guess, bigger frets, all the things that are kind of becoming popular on guitars of today. So we brought a handful of those, and then as far as what Paul's got, he's got something we've been working on with a really good friend of mine, Till Paris, for probably about a year. We have been hammering this guitar out, and this is kind of the brainchild of his, and then we were able to put it together for him. So it's we're calling this right now. It's kind of going for the neoclassic title. It's kind of what we've been going under the moniker of, and in this one we're running a 5A Birdseye board, 3A neck with a 5A Birdseye roasted neck. Just oil finished on that, and then with the body, we've kind of gone, kind of the opposite, where the roasted is kind of all the rage right now, and and this piece is just, you catch the light, and it's just fantastic. With a 10 to 14 compound radius, 57 by 110, stainless steel Jescar frets. Then on the body, we went kind of old school. We went with a nice lacquer finish, and there's always that kind of never-ending debate about whether poly finishes really impact tone.
Yeah. That old debate.
And I know we don't have time to get into it here, but I'm sure that we could put a couple of shows together on that. But so with that, we kind of wanted to maybe lean toward the side of, let's go with the old, Nitro finish. So we did a nice, really, really light Relic on this, got it to check up, and, kind of, you can see the Olympic white looks like it's been around for a little bit. But then we went with a modern 2-point Godo 510 with the big steel block. And then the pickups, we ran some David Allen P51s with True 62s in the neck. Emerson Potts, CRL 5-way switch, and we do this one where down in the one position is full humbucker, split humbucker, then combo, straight up kind of standard Strat wiring throughout.
Nice.
Then in all of our Evolution models, one of the things that from a vintage style guitar is kind of difficult is the heel adjust, like on a Strat or a Tele or whatever, So for touring musicians, whatever, we kind of have some tricks that we're able to do it, but still, it's a little more difficult to get into, the neck pocket. So one of the things that forever has been available is an access up at the top of the neck, and I don't really like the way that looks. So we went with all the Evolution models. We went with the wheel heel adjust.
Nice.
Here again, not recreating the wheel, but wanted to have something that you can just about adjust anywhere on the fly. So we've incorporated that into the neoclassic as well. So we've got this kind of the super killer modern neck mixed with a little bit of the the old school Nitro finish, which gives it that it's a really, really pretty singing guitar.
And just to clarify, this is separate from the Vintage series and the Evolutions. The Neoclassical will be its own series.
It kind of fits right in the middle, and it's certainly something we can expand on. And like I said, having worked so diligently with Till on this, it really became apparent as I started talking to other people that we got something here.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
something that people really dig about it. And like I've shown this picture around before and I actually just fully got finished tonight or this morning. But there's just a lot to like about this, and for whatever reason, it's generated a lot of interest in a little bit of social media posts that we've put up. I didn't want to kind of ruin it, and have it all out there before. But yeah, I've had some good inquiries in it. So, that kind of slots itself right in the middle of the Vintage series and the Evolution series. Because on the Evos, we're using I guess what you would also call the modern poly style finishes. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't hear the difference, but I'm playing that guitar or a Vintage series in a different style or a different environment. In the Evos, we're using more aggressive pickups. So there's
modern voicing.
Maybe something that if I were to dress one out in some 50s voiced pickups or something like that, maybe I would. But for the most part, I think the way that we're doing the Evolutions, the poly gives itself. It's got its own thing, right?
Right.
So,
and as you are a custom company, I mean, what options are available for the Neoclassical? Is it just a double cutaway style? Is there a T style available, or?
To be honest with you, having just finished this, kind of production prototype up, we certainly do this same exact style in the T style, giving you the Telecaster shape, and with this. The neck is available in all of our shapes. So we've got the thin C, the medium C, and we've also got the kind of what I call the slim, and it's the Super Shredder 750, 800, real thin.
Yeah, fast neck.
So I've got some of those coming right behind this one with Floyds and stuff like that. So it should be pretty killer.
Nice.
Same kind of thing with Floyd Rose kind of So it should be pretty cool.
How about we get a little taste of what that sounds like, Paul?
Sure, I'll need a...
You're going to need
one
of
of
these,
yeah.
aren't you?
Yeah, you need to plug them in, yeah.
There you are, sir.
buttery.
Yeah, and it's very articulate. It's I mean that roasted maple neck. The David Allen's in there, correct?
So
David.
This is the full humbucker, and this is split, or vice versa?
Yeah. So the one position full humbucker, and then that split with the. So that would be your standard like two position.
Okay.
In a Strat, so it pretty much splits the bucker, and then you're in the two position. You're half of the.
Oh,
half
but
of the humbucker.
it doesn't split it by itself into just a single core. Okay,
so you don't get the position of it, and certainly we can wire it this way, but this is a standard configuration. In this particular configuration, I'm more likely to use these, the normal Strat position there, where I'm getting the middle mixed with the single coil of the humbucker. But certainly we could
figure if you just want raunchy rock and roll, then you just
then you're just going balls out. Yeah, let's just do it.
Nice. And a quick note for our gain, we are using a Fuzzrocious rack cane. Now, what is do you have a starting price point for where the builds start for the neoclassicals?
With the roasted maple, to be honest with you, I needed to get it together. I'll probably have some stuff up on the site. What are we, Thursday today?
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully I can get that information together. It will probably come in. The roasted maple is a little bit more. And then we talked a little bit about some options.
Yes.
We do the fret options, and like I said, this is the jumbo stainless. It'll probably be what we end up doing it with stock.
Right on.
But if in some, it's not for some people's bag. They don't like that. So we can certainly, do something else there. But like I say, the Godot bridge, you get the hip shot, open back locking tuners, kind of staggered, so no need for a string tree there. But yeah, just I want to say, off the top of my head, it's probably going to be probably in the 27, 29 range.
Not bad, man. Not bad.
That's, like I said, I don't want to commit to it, but sub 3,000, I'd like to keep it.
Right on. And we have plenty of other great guitars around us. And in my hands here, I have one of the Telecaster builds, which you didn't bring last time, I don't believe.
No, I didn't. I didn't have any of those available with on the last show.
And this is the 67T. I know it's got Lollars in it. I've been enjoying picking this up and playing it as we got prepped for show. Now, what else can you tell us about this one right here?
This is a Nitro finish on this one. We got the light Relic on it. It's a J Street and the bridge, and I like that pickup a lot in the bridge. It's voiced really well. It sings, especially in a band style mix. It's not like so out in front, but it's also pronounced. Rosewood neck, quarter sawn, all of our maple necks. We were doing some flat sawn pieces a while back, and I've just moved to every piece of maple that we use is quarter sawn. It has proven time and time again to aid in stability throughout humidity cycles. Touring musicians taking them from East Coast to West Coast, and just subjecting them to all kinds of different environments. They just seem to hold better, and techs love them.
Nice, yeah, yeah. It must be much better for maintenance on the road.
Yeah.
And we got Gotos up here.
No, those are the Clusen, vintage. I think those are one lines on there.
Looks to be.
Yeah, those are the they're Clusen single line vintage style tuners. And actually on that they've got those where they do a vintage locking, where they actually lock from the top, so you can kind of get the advantage of that as well. I like those on a trem guitar, on a solid bridge like that. I think it's just fine.
Right on. It's. It still has that telly sort of twang and spank to it, but it's got a little bit more throatiness.
Yeah, I had to cheat and check out. I forgot what was in the neck of that one. We've been using a lot of Lollar's pickups, and I've just been blown away. I mean, we've committed to using them in quite a few models. I think except for the DMGs over there. But I just did a big run of Evos, and we put Lollars in all of them. And I have to tell you, we used, I didn't use any low winds of the humbuckers, but I used the regular Imperial and the Imperial high wind, and then I did those in combination with dual humbuckers like the one I have here, and then some HSS guitars and some HSHs. And just, bar none, fantastic sounding across the board.
Sure.
And very, very splittable. I was just talking with a good friend of mine who has one of our Evo Ts, and it's got a dual humbucker set up in it, and we're running Imperial high winds in it, and he goes, I'm amazed at how well these split. It's not like I'm playing. It doesn't sound like I'm playing a half a pickup.
Yeah.
And that's a really important thing, especially in the way that we wire the Ts, and you kind of get a good. Kind of telly sound, but you also get the benefit of having two humbuckers.
Yeah.
So you get the fullness of both. So that was pretty cool. And I literally was just talking to him in the car before we came up to the studio.
And it's one of the artists that you've been expanding your artist roster, haven't you?
Yeah, we've actually been doing pretty well with that. We don't have a what I would call the A-list, Steve Vai type guy yet, but hey,
you got to drill a handle in here.
Right? Yeah, I got to
monkey grip,
get something to carry the guitar by first. But
he's really lazy.
But
he doesn't use cases.
Apparently,
we have some really accomplished guys, and we've been pretty diligent about putting those guys up on our site, and it means a lot to me, and I'm incredibly humbled when guys that make their living playing music, will take the time to either send me a text or shoot me a call and say, hey man, this guitar is just performing flawlessly. It's doing everything I wanted to do. I can't thank you enough. It's a really, really humbling experience, and for me and the guys that help out behind the scenes, Mike Boone and my friend Paul, who helps us with a lot of the finishes and stuff. It's really it's a cool feeling, man. It really is.
I bet, absolutely. And we have some of the Evos right around. Are any of those artists? Well, you said one of them was playing an Evo T.
Yep. Yeah. So we've got a couple of country bands that are playing some Evolution stuff on the road with Colt Ford and a few other guys that we're not quite ready to mention yet. But,
right on.
Kind of in the early stages of our agreements, if you will.
Right on. And well, since we mentioned it, tell us about the Evo series. And there's two kind of sublines: the Evo and the Evo Limited, correct?
Right. So what you have over there to your right, yeah. So this is an Evolution, and we loaded this one up with the EMG HSS pickguard, and for this way, they're essentially the same guitar, outfitted the same tuners. Neck options and what have you, but obviously you can see this one is just straight.
We'll go that for you, and I got one down here.
Oh yeah, right. I'm going in. That there is just a straight finish, straight pickguard, top routed guitar, and then for the Evolution Limited, we're doing 5A, either quilted or flame maple, and I've got a bunch of Claro walnut and burls and stuff like that going as well, that hopefully we'll have those out in another 4 or 5 weeks.
Which is good to know, because players like me, I like a good figured top, and if you want a nice, really custom-looking build, Kevin can absolutely provide that for you.
Yeah, we have here's the way that I look at it. So we have put enough options out there to where you can spec out a guitar pretty much just the way you want it.
Yeah.
And I've had this where we've done custom builds. It's where we've kind of moved away from the custom guitars, if you will. We've changed the web name not that long ago. It took a little while to acquire, but we've just gone to iconic guitars, and we've tried to take the things that folks like the most, that they buy the most, that they're utilizing the most playing, and make those options available so that it's a fairly repeatable piece. And with the Evo line, we wanted to be able to provide, the ability to have somewhat of a price point guitar, crafted in the United States. And here you're going to get, real beautiful pearl. And this one's kind of unique. I'll tell you a little bit about this one. So I had been doing a lot of research on waterborne stuff, and living in the state of California, and using solvent base and lacquer and stuff like that is very challenging. So we wanted to be able to, try something else. Yeah. So I had talked to some buddies of mine doing some finishes. Yeah, the waterborne stuff's coming along. So this is the very first guitar, save for the tongue-oiled neck, which is essentially just an oil finish. But from all the paint on this, all the sealer, everything on this, all the way to the clear is all waterborne. And it's super ultra low VOC. It's almost to the point where you can drink it, other than obviously the pigment and and stuff like that. I don't want to do it. I mean, I'm sure somebody would. But
this is the only safely edible guitar.
Right. Yeah. So if you're ever trapped somewhere and you're really hungry,
start taking.
I don't want to. It's obviously a blue guitar, so I don't want to call it a green guitar. Yeah. But it's very the hazardous fumes that are emitted during the finishing process are significantly reduced in that.
So you haven't killed as many brain cells in the finishing department.
Right. Well, then what the heck fun was it? But so no, like here we do this, in any pretty much configuration here as far as pickups, the HSS, HSH, HH configuration. We can certainly do those with the EMGs. I kind of wanted to do one with that just to kind of show some versatility there. And then in the limited line, you can see we do the, sorry about that, Paul. We do the fancy tops, and then a lot of folks, and we can certainly do them too. But I wanted to do something that kind of differentiated our limited line from maybe some of the other guitars that are available out there. So rather than having maybe a bound, which we do on some, did I say doo-doo? Can you say that on the radio?
Yeah, yes, you can in here.
Right? So we wanted to, kind of take that, that beautiful top wood, and rather than just making it look like Grandma's coffee table on the back with a stain and a clear on it, we wanted to have, some really super killer pearl, so this is Copperhead, this is beautiful. I mean, if this guitar were fully painted in the pearl, it would be, just a killer color, and then, we carry that through up into the headstock on all of the limited models as well. And then, running Hipshot hardware on, save for, Floyd-equipped guitars, but on the 2 points, we're running the Hipshot Contour Bridge and the open backlocking tuners.
Nice. And this one right here, what's this loaded with pickup-wise?
Lollar Imperial High Wines.
There we go.
Yeah,
nice.
they're
Yeah.
I like these pickups an awful lot. They're, when I have talked to potential pickup choosers or customers about these particular pickups, because I've been so enamored with them that they're like, oh no, I can't have a hot, I don't want a hot pickup, I want a vintage voice. They're not like what you think of, they're not like 15, 18K, super ultra high output. They're just like a vintage hot, and they've got a real nice throughout the sound spectrum, like I just get that real nice, like you can hear the G and the B and the E string ringing through, even on a pretty high gain, and they're very, very articulate throughout, like I've even run them through super gain, and I'm like, comparatively speaking, with maybe some other high output speakers, I think they have a lot more articulation, which for me I like. I would rather have a pickup that maybe doesn't hit the front of the amp quite as hard, and then be able to use a pedal or my amp's drive to gain that, get that gain up where I want it, Nice. Because then I know that my guitar is super articulate, it's a cleaner signal, if you will, going into the amp. Or the pedal board, and then I can hit that gain with a more truer, more articulate sound. So in my mind, anyway, it makes sense that that the gain structure that comes out, the driven sound, if you will, and then what other processing you add on top of it is going to be cleaner as well. And I don't mean cleaner like not as gritty or not as distorted, but I mean cleaner like I can hear the articulation.
Better note separation.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And like I say, even just you do that, and that's we're pretty high on the gain there. Just get that real nice full sound,
But you could still roll down the volume and get clean when you want to.
They clean up pretty good,
Yeah.
And some of that is definitely on the pickup, and then using the Emerson pots,
Nice, yeah.
And you still got.
Right back to the gain, yeah.
So it gives, here again, I like to think of, certainly, guys sitting in their bedroom, whatever, studio, recording, having an instrument that's useful, right? But where guitar becomes the most, where it becomes like a tool of the trade is when you're playing live. It's got to be able to perform, and it's like, okay, well, I have to tap dance on a bunch of pedals to get the tone. If I can play something and my volume isn't significantly less. I can clean up with my volume knob. Yeah. I don't have to dance on the pedal board as much.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not a good dancer. You don't want to see that.
And how many? So you got the double cutaway S style here. You can do an Evolution T.
Yep.
As well. And what kind of configuration possibilities? Or I should ask actually, where do you stop at with the options people can take for the Evolution series? So
in the Evolution, they're a little bit more. Modern take, like we don't use quite as round of radius as like maybe a on our vintage series. Same, obviously the tele radius, but being those two shapes are kind of there. Then we have what I've affectionately called the Evo 2S. So it's essentially a downsized, a little bit more aggressive, pointy,
Yeah.
guitar like this. And I was going to bring one with me, but there was only so much room in the studio. So, but we've got a lot of cool things, and that's one of them, and that's kind of a shredder's guitar, flat radius, Floyd Rose, that's straight 16, so it's jumbo frets and stuff, and then we've got some big plans for some new models that we're hoping to have done. Actually, just made my hotel reservations for NAMM today, by the way.
Oh, really? For Winter NAMM? Wow.
It was like I got this email, and I'm like, oh shoot! If I don't get a hotel room now, I'm going to be walking all the way halfway. I'll be halfway home.
By that point, might as well.
I might as well just commute. But so hopefully we'll have the Infinity. That's the new line, which is we were going to probably move into that here pretty quick, but I'll segue that myself.
Sure.
So we've got the Infinity line coming out as well, which for us is going to kind of be a brand-defining shape. It's we're not straying too far from convention. We're initially going to introduce it as a double cut, a little bit more aggressive shape, and we're going to have that one available in a 6 and a 7 string.
Oh, so it'll be when you guys finally go to 7 strings for the guys who want to go extended range.
They're not going anywhere. I look at 7s the same way as I look at 5-string basses. When 5-string basses first came out years and years and years ago, guys are like, oh, you don't need a B string. If I can't do it on a 4-string. Same thing when 7 and 8 string. No, for me, I'm like, all right, I have trouble with 6, so 7, yeah, maybe. I have trouble with 4, so 5, yeah, maybe. But anything beyond that is. But I have seen, I know we've all seen, these super, super talented guys are just killing it, right? But, there's so much music now that, requires of the live musician. If you're going to pick up a gig and you're going to go tour with band, XY, you have to have a 5-string bass, or you have to have a 7-string guitar, because that's what the music was recorded with, Yeah. So we want to be able to that, and for sure, it opens up a whole other demographic of musical genres for us, where it's not just like, oh, those guys make, old guy guitars or whatever,
Yeah. Well, it's good that you guys are offering new options for contemporary players. God damn, got distracted. But at least
make Bill
there we go. Excuse me, I'm going to go strangle an intern very quick on the break. We'll be right back.
Sharpen the Axe.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on EnterTalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Tracy Smith
and Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock right here on the EnterTalk Radio Network.
Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
SDP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all that. SilverTigerProduction.com.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise. With your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Welcome back to the second half of Sharpen the Axe with our guest Kevin Proctor of Iconic Guitars here. And we were talking about the next series that is planned to come out that you're going to have prepared by Winter NAMM.
If everything goes well, yeah. So it'll be the Infinity series, in that naming convention, I kind of leave myself as a company open to do whatever the hell I want, in the Infinity line, right? So we're going to start that off, like I said, with the 6 and the 7 string, loosely based on the S shape, but kind of our own take on it, and I'm really looking forward to here again, kind of, certainly. One of the reasons I did this, I love the classic, Strat and Tele shapes, but as a company, we want to kind of distinguish ourselves as having our own thing as well, So we've got those coming. Like I said, hopefully, if everything goes well, and it has, like I say, the prototype came out really bitchin', and we probably have it up and built here, and kind of checking it. Kind of like how the Cobalt guitar came together, just build it and see if it flies, see if you can paddle water with it if you're ever up Schitt's Creek or whatever, and so we'll make it a guitar and see how it goes, and it'll go on the wall, and we've got a bunch of those firsts, if you will, and hopefully have the production models ready to rock and roll for NAMM. I know it's I just looked at it today, I'm like, holy cow, man, this year is flying by. Yeah. So there's been a lot of really cool things, and like I said, along the way, we've met a lot of really great people, you guys included. And I just had to say that, but whatever.
Your check's in the mail.
Yeah.
But so we really excited about the new stuff. And our Evo line is really doing well for us. It's had a great reception. We're hoping to you guys are digging it too. It just is a really good guitar for doing modern stuff, but it still does some of the vintage stuff as well. To be able to get up and get some classic kind of 2 and 4 position sounds, and then be able to get some of the aggressive stuff as well. I think it's going to serve us pretty well.
Awesome, right on. So there's a lot to look forward to and a lot available. Kind of like this Evo right here. We're going to tell us about the one that's in my hands right here.
So these are actually the same guitar. You're looking at the Evo S Limited in a 5A quilted maple, a flamed maple. Both of these are loaded with Lollar high wind Imperials. Both of them have the Hipshot Contour Bridge, Emerson Electronics. And the one thing I didn't mention is we went away purposely from the traditional 5-way switch, and we're using what's known as a Schaller Mega Switch. And gosh, for all intent and purpose, and I know I'm going to say this, and somebody says, "Oh yeah, I had one fail the other day," but for all intents and purposes, they're foolproof. Like, they don't break, and they're circuit board based, so they come in a couple of different configurations, so you can elicit some different sounds. And we use the E and the M in a couple of different models, but they're really positive in the way that they wire up is just fantastic. So, using the Mitch's pots from Emerson Custom, and then again, the Hipshot tuners and stuff. But yeah, these two are some pretty examples of an Aztec and a Copper in the Evolution S Limited, and we do these in a number of different, the Tiger Eye, and We've got another faded denim, several different finishes that are really cool, and some that are just unique to us. There's nobody else kind of doing them. I really wanted to here again utilize this to separate the brand from maybe some of the other guys that are doing traditional. I'm not the only guy out there that's doing a Strat-shaped guitar and Telecaster-shaped guitar. So we wanted to have some things that are like, oh, when you see that, it starts to elicit the iconic brand with you. And I think we're capturing that on some things, man. It's been a pretty good year. I can't lie.
Right on.
Have you tried messing around with any original body designs?
Yeah, so that's kind of when we. That's been always the kind of the end goal. And with the Infinity series, it's our own shape. I mean, from start to finish, there's like I said, there's a couple of ways you can go. You can stray as far as you want from convention, and you can get something as unique as like a Concord Jackson shape, or a BC Rich or something like that, and you can really just stand out there and be bold and go, hey, screw it, this is my damn guitar.
But guitar players are like cats; they don't like change.
Well,
it's a great comparison.
Well, so convention tells us that this is what a guitar looks like, or a single cut Les Paul. That's what a guitar, because that's what all of our heroes have played, So here again, it will. There'll definitely be some, it's a double cut. It's a Strat-ish style guitar, but it's like I say, from stem to stern. We're doing it with a 13-degree tilt back headstock. So some of the things that are really important to me as a player, and some of the really, really respectable players that I have made friends with in this business, I'm like, hey, so if you could do something on a guitar, if you could take this guitar and make it, the most cool, what would you do? So I've kind of been, and it's like what I worked with Till on this guitar. He's like, dude, I love that my one guitar.
Rhinestones.
We're gonna definitely do that for sure.
Go full Paul Stanley on it. That'd be amazing.
But being able to take some of the things that a modern player likes and utilizes, and like I say, doing on those models we'll be doing a 12 to 16 compound, so even a little bit flatter than the Evos, and then a straight 16. Wow. And I just am really looking forward to seeing some of these guys that just play insane stuff once they get their hands on these guitars. So I'm really excited to get them to NAMM and because I can't play like that. I'm not gonna lie.
And have any of your production models been inspired by like just a custom job that somebody requested? And
this right here.
One?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I have to give Till Paris we built the guitar, but the inspiration for this guitar came from me. Gosh, we were just talking about this the other day. Him and I have probably had, I'm not even kidding, 40 plus hours of real conversation about this guitar. And I know when you're looking at it, you go, dude, it looks like a freaking Strat. What are you talking about? There's a lot of like little nuances, and like you add a 2-point, you add a flatter radius, and heel adjust, and just all these little things that add up to make that guitar what it is, and which is super badass, by the way.
It is.
Going with the roasted maple neck versus a traditional whether rock maple or mahogany or any other type of neck, and the 2-piece center seam alder body and the lacquer finish and blah blah blah. So those things where after we must, like I said, we just sat there for 40 hours, full-time job, 1 week, come up with a guitar, But it actually took a lot more conversation. So in talking with him, I'm like, started telling people, and I think you and I even talked about it once several months ago. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm working on this kind of cool thing. It's going to kind of be a cross between blah, 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 blah. And people will go, dude, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I'd be into something like that, Yeah. So for me, and I talk with Till, I'm like, hey, let's do this, man. Let's make this model. Let's put it out, and we'll kind of, like I say, we're going to kind of slot it somewhere between our vintage-inspired series, which are kind of, period pieces, if you will, with some of the things that we talked about last time. We still do compound radius and stuff on those, and then these evolution guitars, which are more of a 2020-ish guitar, So it kind of slots itself in there really well, and man,
it makes it for very, very versatile instrument. Like
we're really hoping that it will. I have attempted, gosh, forever to find a guitar that you could go out there and play everything with.
Yeah.
I've never found it. I'm not saying this is it, but it's pretty damn close.
And that's an important thing that a lot of players are looking for, is that the studio workhorse, that utility guitar. I mean, with the Emerson custom guts and the switching system on these, I mean, you can coax out whatever tone you want.
You really can, and one of the things that's important in being able to do that, and for us is like, all right, well let's put it together, let's see what it does, go and play it, and like I was telling you, I don't want to split a humbucker just to say that I can. Mm-hmm. I want it to split and be usable.
Yes.
Right, and if I can't do that live, and in the instance that I do it, and it becomes, I said do again.
You did. That's
twice in less than
third time to get a prize,
right? So I'm going to see if I can work that in again here in a minute. But it's got to be organic, man. I can't just do it now.
That's true. If you force it, we'll know.
It'll see contrived.
Know.
That's BS, man. It's got to just come natural like that through conversation. I think I've gone I don't know how many years without saying that, but I've said it twice in an hour.
This show just brings it out.
Exactly.
It brings out
it really does.
all the verbal diarrhea. But no, for real, being able to, do it well, right? Not just, but yeah, man, that's pretty killer. Yeah, that's important, And goddamn, where was I going to go? You're still working on the vintage series. You have not slowed down on that. You have not cut That's
any
actually
models,
picked
right?
up, right?
Oh, really?
So I think I had even said at one point, I said, boy, I'd really like to stop doing relics. And it's almost as soon as those words came out of my mouth, it's just been a flood. Which I'm not complaining, but for the way that we do relics, in one of the comments that we get pretty regularly in review, if you will, is that it looks as if
it's subtle.
Yeah, even on this one, it's intended to be super subtle. But even on this one, which is a little bit heavier, it's meant to look like a guitar that's actually been played and worn, not something that you just left outside for a couple years and then decided to drag it behind your car over to Walmart. And not that there's anything against Walmart, but I'm just using that as a illustration because it's just down the street.
And it's and I like on this one, there's markings where the forearm would have hung. There's on the back. There's buckle rash. There's some relic jobs that come out and it really just looks like they just threw shit at it and then glossed it over.
There's some that look terrible.
Well, you know what? On one of the trademarks that I do, and I don't think I did it on this one, but I do it on a lot of guitars, is on two of my own guitars from my days of playing out. I have, the serration, if you will, on the bottom of a beer bottle. Mm-hmm. Two of my guitars have those indents on them.
Really?
Yeah, from
Nice.
2 o'clock bar shows, whatever.
Yeah.
So every now and then I'll grab a beer bottle out of the shop fridge and be like,
and done.
But it's everything that we're trying to do, on the relic stuff and and the vintage inspired is definitely to pay homage to those guitars. I mean, it's it is what it is, right?
Now it's interesting to see what all the relic stuff is going to look like 30 years from now.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like looking like SRV's #1, just no paint left on practically.
Time for a refinish, and then we'll paint them again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, do you guys do some refinishes if needed?
Yeah, if thankfully, knock on wood, we haven't had to refinish any of our own, but we're moving into a new facility. We had a place that I had picked out, and just because this is the way I have to do things and make it so difficult, my wife and I are looking to actually relocate and move in our personal residence. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to kind of just hold off on the shop because I want to make sure I don't want to have an hour-long commute to the shop.
Yeah.
So I'm like, then it ended up, we looked at all these other places, and then we ended up right back there. And by the time I went to make the commitment on a lease for the shop space, I'm like, oh, sorry, dude, it's gone. So we've kind of gone back into the hunt for that. But, so once we get in there, we may start offering that a little bit more readily, kind of keep the paint booth moving along more.
Right on. And aside from all the wonderful stuff that's happening with the guitars, you've also added in basses, right? When did that start?
You know what? We actually did the first one we put up on the wall at Winter NAMM, and I had a dear friend of mine said, "Dude, you told me you were going to do basses," and I'm like, "I know. It's been a long time in the works, and I've been wanting to do them, and I love playing bass. I like playing bass an awful lot, and it's just been a matter of time and getting the designs done, getting them hammered out and prototyped and all that other stuff. So we did a 4 and a 5 string P bass simultaneously, and I've kept this one for myself.
Nice.
And the 4 string we've been doing. And we're doing these, these are in the vintage series. So again, they're kind of inspired by, the old P basses of yesteryear. And but here again, obviously this one is a 5-string, and there wasn't P basses of 5-string, of yesteryear with Nitro on them. So.
Anything you can do on a 5-string, you should be able to do on a 4. There's no need for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Florentino's going to bust through the door and have some things to say about that right quick.
You're going to get yourself kicked in the shin in a minute.
Nah, he's a 4-string player. I don't think he does 5.
So,
never?
But in keeping with the shape and everything that we were going and kind of slotting that into we updated the bridge a little bit, put a shallower bridge.
So how about you tell us about the features that are on the one in front of us here?
So kind of in the same vein as we do the vintage inspired stuff, Olympic white Nitro, Nitro finished neck. Then on this one we're running a Nordstrand pickup in it. And then I was going to run kind of a vintage-inspired 5-string bridge, and it just didn't fit, man.
Didn't work.
No, I didn't like it. So then I've run this shallower before on other guitars, and I really like the adjustability of it and the stability of it. So I put it on there, and I was like, yeah, it just fits. It looks good. It feels good. Plays well. So we went ahead and ran that, and the shallower stuff you just can't beat anyway. As far setting the intonation, everything on it, string height is just pretty good.
Nice. It's comfortable to play. Definitely very comfortable to play, and it's is this a vintage radius on this, or is it something a little bit more on the modern side?
It's more modern.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, you know what? There's not really any vintage P basses in the 5-string.
Yeah, true. Also true.
The flatter just works better on a 5-string anyway.
Deep low on that.
Hopefully you're listening with subwoofers.
Yeah, right. Rattling someone's room right now.
No, I've liked. We've used some David Allens. We've used some Nordstrand, and we've used some Lollars, and I like them all. I've got some Lollars going in a J bass. So we're doing it. We've got right now. We've got a J4, a J5, and a P4 and a P5.
Nice.
And I got, pretty much I would spec that anyway. The jazz bass I did in a poly finish, and like I said, did this one, and it can kind of be whatever you want it to be.
Nice. So there is some configurability
Absolutely.
for players out there. And do you have any that are out on the road right now? Any of their basses, or?
I don't think anybody of note is playing it. We get a very small amount of basses just because I haven't been pushing them. When we went to NAMM, we did them at the behest of a good friend of mine. It's like I gotta do it. So it's probably something that we'll start pushing in the market a little bit more. We've really been focused on, we put a lot of eggs in the basket of the evolution basket, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it's paid off. They've had great response. kind of did, I don't know if you want to call it a soft launch. Kind of put a couple of bases out there and said, hey man, what do you think? And it's been a great response. It's just, we're not selling obviously as many. We're not known for that as much as we are for the guitars.
Can you take over that, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting jealous over here.
There we are.
So we were talking about that, and then aside from the Shallow Bridge and Nordstrand pickup, we're running Emerson pots in this with. One of the things that I found that I liked in all the vintage pieces, in this one as well, and I'm probably on some kind of national watch list or something now, especially with all the stuff that's going on with Russia. But I order these new old stock mil-spec Russian paper and oil capacitors.
Really?
Yeah, and they come, there's no English words except my name and address on the package.
Wow.
Right, everything else is in Russian, and, it's got this stuff on there. So I've been ordering those now I've been using those for a little over a year. And I had just kind of found them on accident, and I said, I'm going to try a handful of those. And then I put them in, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah?
So then I went back and ordered a bunch more, and like I said, now I have correspondence, emails with Russia, and Russia. So so I was sure but if I ever get investigated, that'll be it.
Hey, I just gotta say, there's just some caps for bases. That's it, right?
Well, we use them in the guitars too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, this got the mil-spec Russian paper and oil capacitor in it as well.
Nice. So, it shows that you take the time to source parts for your instruments that are high quality and have great.
I have a lot of them because you just don't normally buy them 5 at a time.
Yeah.
So I'm banking on that. We're going to continue to keep doing these. So I gotta.
They have to dismantle a whole rocket to get it.
There's some Soyuz that are just torn apart, laying in a field somewhere out there.
Yeah. So no. But they've just they've performed well. We've done some tone testing with some vintage Marshall stuff, some vintage Fender amps and stuff like that, and I've just been really, really impressed. Especially when we match them up to the pickups that we were already using. It's just that little. Just that little bit more that made it that much better. It's like these go to 11. It's just that little bit more.
And for those that would be interested in a iconic bass, do you have a starting point, a price starting point for builds?
Yeah, I think, just off the top of my head, Eric, I think those are, they're 23, 24, right in that area.
Starting from both?
Yeah.
Nice. Right on. So it's...
Rubles?
Yes.
It's definitely a great playing bass. It, like everything else you build, man, plays like butter.
Thank you. Yeah, this one's in here again, straying a little bit from the vintage. We got hip shot tuners on there too. You know why? Because they're really freaking good. And they work well, and I love the ratio on them, and they hold the tune really well. And we've even done these in Relic as well. I think there's a picture of a 4-string P bass on our website that's got a really tasty Relic on it, and
nice.
kind of beat those up a little bit and made them look like they've been around the block 300 or 400 times.
And you got a build coming up that's all murdered out, right? Or will be?
Yeah, so I've got a jazz bass that I'm running. It's a maple neck, but I'm running ebony fingerboard on it. Everything on it's black. And it, again, maybe a one that hangs on the wall in the studio.
Nice.
And that's kind of one of the prerequisites. One of the things that kind of jacked me about the shop space that we had. It had a really nice kind of demo area where folks could come in and we could have some bitchin' guitars hanging on the wall and stuff.
Right on. Yeah.
Which is kind of a requisite. So once we're up and running, maybe we'll have you guys down and you can run through the full gamut of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do an episode from there.
Right on.
And I keep trying to well, what's he playing? Oh crap, I'm on air. I can't sit here.
Cedric back there behind the camera was making faces at me when he heard Super Freak. He's like, seriously, bro?
And I thought for a second, Groove is in the Heart. I got it right. Awesome.
Can't expose you to it anymore.
But is there anything else that? Actually, quick question. Since you mentioned the ebony fretboards, I mean, most of these here have a rosewood. We have the roasted maple over there. Can you order a classic series or a evolution with an ebony fretboard if you want?
We've been monkeying around with that a little bit. I don't know if you guys have talked about the CITES regulations at all.
That's what I was going to go into. If that's been a problem for you as a builder.
It's not really a problem. I think it maybe got made out to be more of a problem than it actually may turn out to be for most people. For those of you that don't know, just to kind of give you a high-level flyby without getting into too much, there's a worldwide organization that is called CITES, and they have placed rosewood in all of its forms on the endangered list. It used to just be Brazilian rosewood, and overforestation and all the other things. And certainly we're all concerned about the environment and being great custodians and everything. But the rosewood that's being used for the Indian rosewood has been sustainably being farmed and responsibly blah 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 blah. So that's what we're using. We're using the Indian rosewood on all of our guitars. But now that, and I don't recall the Latin name for it off the top of my head, is also placed on that endangered list and has some regulations as far as transporting over borders. If you're going to buy a guitar and you're going to be traveling around the United States, it's not a problem. If you're going to take it out of the country, then it becomes an issue, and you've got to have some documentation to go with your guitar. And it's an awful lot on our side to get that, and we're working on some things in the background where we can basically include that, almost like a certificate of authenticity.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you may even start seeing some of that coming in down at Pitbull here pretty quick, where it's basically a passport, if you will, for your guitar to go internationally. So we're not going to stop at this moment. I know there's some large companies who have made the transition away from it. We're not going to stop. I'm hoping that some calmer heads will prevail, and maybe there can be some conversation about, being a good planet custodian and doing things responsibly rather than just saying, oh, no, we're not going to. So I know some companies, we may at some point offer the Powell Faro, which is a viable option. But the ebony on a jazz bass is just kind of a thing, So when we're doing that, that just... But right now, for us, I'm going to continue with the maple, maple, and the two-piece necks, maple Indian rosewood.
Right on.
And on certain models like a jazz bass, where you would see an ebony fingerboard, we'll do that as well.
So it's good to know those options are going to be available and continue to use rosewood. We're just about out of time here. Right on cue. Thank you very much for joining us, Kevin, and showing off the new
Amazing work as always.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having us, guys. It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, I'm Eric Lucero.
And I'm Paul Berezetsky.
Sharpen the Axe with EnterTalk Radio. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for watching.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott.